The hall was alive with chatter and laughter, elegant gowns brushing against polished shoes, chandeliers gleaming above, and the sweet scent of roses filling the air. It was the annual gala at St. Alden Academy, a night meant to celebrate art, talent, and the brilliance of youth. Parents, teachers, and dignitaries filled the seats, eager to witness the performances of the Academy's finest students. The stage was set, the grand piano at the center glistening like a jewel under the lights. But as the evening wore on, not everything went as planned. The star performer, an award-winning pianist and pride of the school, suddenly fell ill backstage. Panic rippled through the organizers. The audience was waiting. The program could not end without the piano performance. Whispered conversations broke out. "What do we do now?" the headmistress asked nervously, wringing her hands. And that was when someone suggested, almost mockingly, "Why not let the janitor try? He's always lingering near the piano when he thinks no one is watching." The words brought laughter. People chuckled at the absurd idea. The janitor, Mr. Daniel, a man in faded overalls with calloused hands from scrubbing floors and fixing broken desks. The very thought seemed ridiculous. He was invisible to most, a shadow sweeping the halls after hours. But fate has a way of pushing the unseen into the spotlight. Daniel had been standing in the corner of the hall, silently picking up empty cups and napkins. He heard the words. He felt the laughter. He saw the amused glances. And for the briefest moment, he wanted to shrink back into the shadows where he always belonged. But then he looked up at the piano, that magnificent instrument he had admired in secret for years. His heart tightened with longing. He had once been a boy who lived for music, who dreamed of stages and concert halls. But life, cruel and unrelenting, had forced him to put away dreams for survival. So when the headmistress, half in jest and half in desperation, gestured toward him and said, "Mr. Daniel, perhaps you would like to try," he nodded quietly. The room erupted in whispers. Some stifled laughter, others shook their heads in disbelief. Daniel walked to the stage, every step heavy with the weight of doubt pressing down on him. He could feel their eyes on him, the parents in silk and satin, the students with their polished shoes, the teachers who barely remembered his name. To them, he was just the janitor. He sat at the piano. His rough hands, so used to holding brooms and mops, hovered above the ivory keys. For a moment, silence blanketed the hall. Then, a cruel voice from the crowd whispered loudly enough for all to hear, "Careful, he might scratch the piano with those hands." Laughter rippled across the room. Daniel closed his eyes. He remembered the tiny apartment where he once lived with his wife before she passed away, remembered the nights when he played lullabies for his little daughter who was now grown. Music had been his refuge, his prayer, his unspoken language. Tonight, he would let it speak again. And then, he began to play. The first notes were soft, almost trembling, like a whisper breaking the silence. But as his fingers found confidence, the melody grew stronger, flowing like a river long dammed finally breaking free. The hall fell utterly silent. The laughter died. He poured his heart into the keys, every joy, every sorrow, every moment of love and loss. The music soared high, delicate yet powerful, weaving stories of pain and hope. Each note carried the weight of his struggles, yet lifted the audience into something transcendent. It was not just music, it was a soul laid bare. Parents who had once looked down on him found tears streaming down their cheeks. Teachers who had never noticed him clutched their hands to their hearts. Students who had mocked him sat frozen, unable to look away. Even the cruel voice that had taunted him now sat in silence, ashamed. By the time the final chord echoed through the hall, the audience rose to its feet in thunderous applause. Tears glistened in countless eyes. The same people who had laughed minutes earlier were now cheering, clapping, some even shouting his name. Daniel stood, bowing his head humbly. He did not need their applause. He had played for himself, for the dream he thought he had lost. But in that moment, he realized something profound. Dreams never truly die. They wait, patiently, for the courage to bring them back to life. After the performance, the headmistress approached him with trembling hands. "Mr. Daniel," she whispered, why did you never tell us?" He smiled faintly. "No one ever asked. That night changed everything." The story of the janitor who silenced an entire hall with music spread beyond the academy. Newspapers wrote about him, invitations to play came from unexpected places, and most importantly, he was no longer invisible. He was seen, truly seen, for the first time in years. But Daniel never let it make him proud in the wrong way. He continued his janitorial work, greeting the same halls with a smile. Except now, whenever he walked by the piano, people didn't laugh. They listened. And so, the janitor who once swept floors reminded the world that greatness does not wear uniforms of wealth or status. It beats quietly in the hearts of those who dare to keep their dreams alive.